AITA for refusing my wife's request to sleep with her colleague after surviving cancer? This is a complicated story, and I need to hear some objective opinions. My wife, Sarah, and I have been married for 15 years. We've had our ups and downs, like any couple, but the last couple of years have been particularly challenging. About 2 years ago, Sarah was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was devastating news, and the subsequent months were a blur of doctor visits, surgeries, chemotherapy, and endless nights of worry. Sarah fought hard. She endured the pain, the nausea, the fear. She lost her hair, her energy, and at times, her hope. But she never gave up. I was with her every step of the way, doing my best to be her rock. I took care of the household, our 2 kids, and tried to keep things as normal as possible. It was a long, grueling battle, but about 6 months ago, we received the news we'd been praying for: Sarah was in remission. Life started to return to normal, or at least a new normal. Sarah went back to work, started reconnecting with friends, and began to find joy in the little things again. I was overjoyed to see her coming back to life, and I thought we were finally moving past the dark times. A few weeks ago, Sarah sat me down and said she needed to talk about something important. She was nervous, which put me on edge. I had no idea what was coming. She told me that going through cancer had changed her in many ways. She had faced her mortality and realized that life is too short to have regrets. She said that she wanted to experience more of life, and part of that was exploring her sexuality. I was stunned. Sarah has always been the more conservative one in our relationship. I never expected this. She told me there was someone at work, a colleague named Mark, who she had grown close to during her illness. He was supportive, understanding, and she had developed feelings for him. She wanted to know if I would be okay with her sleeping with him, just once, to explore this side of herself and see what it would be like. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My initial reaction was anger and betrayal. How could she ask me this after everything we'd been through? How could she even consider being with someone else? I told her I needed time to think and left the house. I drove around for hours, trying to make sense of it all. Over the next few days, we had several long, emotional conversations. Sarah insisted that this wasn't about love or replacing me. She said she loved me deeply and was committed to our marriage, but this was something she felt she needed to do for herself. She said it was about living without regrets, about fully embracing life after coming so close to losing it. I was torn. On one hand, I understood where she was coming from. She had faced death and come out the other side with a new perspective. On the other hand, I felt like my trust and our vows were being shattered. I felt like she was asking too much of me. I suggested counseling, but she said this was beyond that. It was a personal journey she needed to undertake. I talked to a few close friends about it, but their reactions were mixed. Some understood Sarah's perspective, while others thought she was being selfish. I felt more confused than ever. I love my wife, and I want her to be happy, but the thought of her being with someone else makes me sick to my stomach. After much soul-searching, I told Sarah that I couldn't give her my blessing. I couldn't be okay with her sleeping with Mark or anyone else. I said that if she felt she had to do this, I wouldn't stop her, but it would change our relationship forever. She cried and said she understood, but she seemed deeply hurt and disappointed. Since then, things have been tense between us. Sarah hasn't mentioned Mark again, but I can see the strain in her eyes. I'm constantly on edge, wondering if she's going to bring it up again or if she's going to go behind my back. It's tearing me apart. So, am I the jerk for refusing to let my wife sleep with her colleague? Should I have been more understanding, given everything she's been through? Or am I right to stand my ground and protect our marriage vows? I'm at a loss and would appreciate any advice.